Hi guys, welcome to Office Blokes React. I'm Office Bloke Dave.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
Office Bloke Daz.
Together we're the Office Blokes.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
All three of us. What's an unbeatable cannonball record?
Do you know what the Cannonball Run is?
Is it a race?
Yeah.
I don't know where it is.
We've all seen the film with Burt Reynolds.
He
and
hasn't.
The classic.
No, I haven't.
Really?
Way too young.
Classic film, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it was probably in the early 70s, wasn't it? Did it come out?
It probably was in the 70s, actually,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah, nowadays it's rare. It's rare I'll watch a movie that's like
it's not- I know what you mean.
pre-80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Well, anything pre-HD TV for me
Yeah.
now.
Hmm,
I'm like, it's not got HD TV. I'm like, nah.
Think about the first
Puts you
Alien movie. That was 1969, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it
Alien-
69 or
Alien?
79?
What was Sigourney Weaver?
Yeah.
No, maybe 79.
Yeah,
Was it 79?
Yeah, it'd been 70s. That.
Yeah, 70s or
But the
80s.
Cannonball Run is a race that's raced from New York to California.
Yeah.
So it's cross country. And I don't know much about it. It's all I know is that's the race. And I think you're going to Google it.
I'm going to Google Alien because I feel like I'm right about that.
It's a real thing, isn't it?
So it's I want to say Richard Rawlins had the record, did he?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
I've got a feeling in the back of my mind somewhere Richard Rawlins had the record for this.
Right, okay.
Him and have you ever watched that show he does, Gas Monkey?
79.
Yeah.
Did it do up cars?
Yeah.
I think I may have seen
Yeah,
it.
they sort of like they do all restoration on cars
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And he called Gas Monkey. And he had like I think he bought a bar next to where it was and all that, and opened up a bar with played like live music and all this kind of stuff. In Texas it is. I want to say it's in Dallas. And he and another guy on there. It wasn't when they had the show, but I think it was before the show. But they raced across in the Cannonball Run and got,
Right.
I think they held the record.
Right, okay.
People in the comments can let us know. I'm not 100% sure on any of this. Don't really know a lot about it, but I thought I wanted to know a bit more about it because this is Cannonball record and it looks pretty recent.
Yeah.
What was the one that Hunter S. Thompson did in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
Probably the Cannonball Run.
Because he was like a journalist, wasn't he? And he folled like Cannonball Run or the Gumball Rally.
Yeah.
Or I don't know the difference
the Gumball
between
Rally. He did one from Mykonos in Greece to Ibiza.
Right, so so that's European, the Gumball.
Yeah, do you remember them? I don't know if you remember them cars that were scouted around Hale when like one was a gold Ferrari, one was a gold like Porsche, and one was a gold SLR Mercedes.
Right.
And they had them all wrapped in the same colours.
Yeah.
That was their team, and they all raced in there.
Right.
I mean, they got talking crazy money.
Yeah,
I mean,
hell,
ridiculous. I don't know if
imagine.
this is the same, but this is. I don't know what the deal is with this. I don't really know the rules. If there's any rules,
I'm sure there is. It's probably
you
time
think of it-
trials to some degree. Isn't
It's
it?
got to be, think if it's a race, someone would just keep driving through the night. If it's two of them, they just do it one after another,
I
wouldn't
want to say in the back of my mind something tells me it's illegal what they do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Something like that.
I think they may break the speed limit in there, might they?
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That's probably what they got to do. They got to try and sort of like get the
avoid
Yeah.
the speed cameras and
Stuff
things like
stuff like this is usually time trials with stages, though, isn't it? So everyone's got to get to a certain point, and I think you get whoever gets there fastest. But it's not just going to be a race start to finish. I think it's like a race that consists of like 20.
I've got a feeling this might be start to finish.
You think?
Like I say, I don't know the rules. This is the first I've seen it, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And going off of the Burt Reynolds film from when I was about 3.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't remember.
that's all I know about it really
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. So again, rules wise, not too sure to be honest, but
No, we'll get into it and
Yeah,
find out.
yeah.
We set an unbeatable cannonball record.
Unbeatable.
Guys, watch out! I just got my doors blown off by a cop car heading to California.
Fair enough.
I wonder if that's what they're in a cop car.
yeah,
When the lockdown came, honestly, I just wanted to go out and drive. Not only because the roads were empty, but also because people said, well, you shouldn't do that. It's unsafe. I had promised my wife that I wouldn't do any more cannonballing after 27-25. And I stuck to that promise, but I was certainly begging because I had been on a number of essential trips and I saw how empty the roads were and just how much joy it brought me to drive when there was nobody else on the road and nobody hogging the left lane. It was like all of the Karens had stayed home and they were the same people who sit and park in the left lane and never move over. So
I get them.
yeah.
Love this guy.
Yeah.
Love this guy.
like
When he said,
attitude.
he said something there I didn't quite understand. He says, I told my wife I'm not going to do any more cannonballs from 27 to 25.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
I know,
I
didn't
don't know, I
he
thought that.
say 2007 to 2015?
I thought he said
I
20,
thought it said
27 to 25.
yeah, something like that. That's what I thought.
Unless he meant 25 to 27, unless he meant...
I thought he was talking about the years. He just said, I'm not going to do any more.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the good old days of the early days of the pandemic where you get on the road,
Mate.
like,
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah.
If I would have had my car that I've got now, then.
Same.
Getting to work in about 4 minutes.
Yeah.
We had to, people who don't know, we had to work the whole, I say had to, we got to, luckily, work the whole pandemic because we were key workers. And the first day of the pandemic, there was just not a car on the, I think I saw a cop car on the way into work.
That was scary. It really
we had to carry letters, didn't we? To say we were key workers and all that sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh, driving was so fun then.
So it was a truly awesome experience being out on the road and just driving fast everywhere. So I got to watch 2 other teams make runs, the ones that I had helped scout, and both of them were in imminent danger of taking our record. And it was certainly a little bit of a stressful time, very emotional time for me. I wanted to see somebody that I knew and respected carry the torch, take the record, but I certainly didn't want it to happen that quickly. Those 2 guys didn't end up beating the record, so I was able to go to sleep that Sunday night. But then we got a message that somebody else that we had never heard of was closing in on our record and was about to beat it, and they certainly did. Some of you heard about the 2638 story and the borrowed Audi, and it was certainly hard to accept that was.
I'm guessing that's the number of the rally that they've done, because he just said 2638, so I imagine 2725 would have been, or whatever he said was a number of a, I don't know.
I wonder if it's the stages, because it said he's got the New York to LA record, and I'm wondering if there's other parts to it. And
no, I think that's the rallies. The race is from.
Is that the whole race?
Yeah,
right.
But I think it's. I think that's the number of the race. So I think you've had number 1, number 2, number 3, all the way up to 2000. Yeah. So when he's saying 2725, that's the number of the race, 2725th race. That's the theory. I'm behind it.
How it had gone down, just because there was no traffic and no cops. Somebody jumped in a car and went out and beat our time, especially after we had spent so much time and effort and poured emotion and years of planning into beating Ed's record.
So after my Mercedes got wrecked on April 4th, I was pretty heartbroken, but I did think that maybe God was telling me, like, you're kind of done with this whole Cannonball thing.
Just when I thought that I had come to grips and made my peace with being retired and just seeing the record go away, my wife sends me a text message. And she essentially said, who am I to impose my ethics on you if you were doing this with a clear conscience? And I think this actually is safe to do when there's nobody else on the road. And I don't like how you kind of lost the record. And if you want to make a run during the quarantine, you have my blessing. And I'm like, great, now you say it. I can't call your bluff. Arnie's car got wrecked. What the heck am I going to do now? So I called up Arnie and said, all right, I've got permission.
How are we going to come up with a car as traffic is starting to mount? People are not following the whole quarantine thing. So we had to do something quick. And the quickest alternative was Troy's Corvette that he had run in the Cannonball a couple times. And Doug bought it. So he sends it to me to kind of go through it and make sure that it's ready to go. We had about a week's worth of work we had to do to it.
Nice.
Maybe it's not a set race. You know, like
I know
at a time of year.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think
you can just go whenever you want.
Yeah.
I thought, it'd be like 30, 40, 50 cars all going off in one go, one after another, and that was it, like once a year. But
like I say, I don't know anything about it. It's just going off memory from the Burt Reynolds
film.
I occasionally read about certain stories that might happen.
The way he's expressed that is, traffic's just starting to mount, so we just need to go.
Yeah, need to do it.
So obviously it's not we're waiting for the 15th because everyone's going to set off.
That's right.
Interesting. I love car stuff.
Nice motor as well.
Yeah.
I took the car out on the Monday before we were supposed to go and realized that there is no way that I'm driving this fiberglass sports car across the country at those speeds. It just didn't feel right, and I knew I had to go back to the German sedan. So I knew that my buddy Eric had this Audi S6 that had some mild work done to it that he had promised that he would sell me when he was done with it. So I called him on Tuesday morning and I said, Eric, I got to level with you. I need to make another run. My Mercedes is wrecked and I need to buy your car. And he's like, well, you're in luck. I just bought a GTR and I'm looking to sell it. I said, I'll be there in 30 minutes. So I picked the thing up at noon on Tuesday and the 3-day Cannonball build began. In Cannonball, my favorite part is building the car and preparing, which in this circumstance, we're both out the window. So the build of this car was going to be like a reality show where you build it in a few days. But in this reality show, we were actually going to build it in a few days. So the car is a hodgepodge of Cannonball cars that I had. We stripped all of the countermeasures off my Ford LTD that we were going to run in the C2C Express in 2019. We robbed the fuel system out of the E63. We took the electronic stack out of the Corvette. We took the CB antenna and a couple other odds and ends off of my Crown Vic from the 29.
I always think about mechanics when they strip cars. Like, I fucking struggle to take the dust cap off when I'm pumping the tires up, right? They're taking like full electronic systems
off other cars as well, and putting them on their car.
Yeah.
And how do they know what to do?
I won't even know where to start.
Oh no, it's not what I expected this at all.
No,
I thought the Corvette. I thought, that's the type of car you do it in.
Yeah,
but now they're just going for like a sedan, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like a saloon car.
Comfort, don't you? Putting in
comfort.
When you're going that far,
reliability. You need reliability as well. I'm guessing.
Yeah, just massively. Yeah,
something about car stuff, isn't there? It's like watching Top Gear and the Grand Tour and Fifth Gear that used to be on, and when you watch, what's the restoration one where they flip the cars in this country?
not sure about that one.
Mike Brewer.
They have it on in the barbershop.
Mike Brewer,
I can't remember.
Yeah,
but there's just something about it where you can just get lost in it, isn't there? Just taking bits out of bits and just bodging it all together and just going. It's awesome.
Yeah. But for me, it's like, I love cars and I like the aesthetic, the look of them.
Yeah.
So I go for the look of a car. I don't really go for anything else.
Yeah.
And someone got in my car the other day and like, is this a twin turbo? So I went, mate, I have no idea. He's like, is it rear wheel drive, front wheel drive, 4-wheel drive? I went, mate, fuck it, I don't know. Stop asking me.
It's loud.
I get in it
fast,
and I go.
And it goes vroom, vroom.
It does the job for me.
Yeah, I put petrol in it, that's it.
904, and in a few days, we had ourselves a Cannonball car. So what's funny about the Audi S6 is it was actually the car that I wanted to build in the first place before the Mercedes. But seeing that AMS did not have a bunch of parts for the S6 like they did the E63, I wanted to run a full alpha packaged car. And at the time, they didn't do tuning and really only had a couple parts. So that's why I chose the E63. But the reason I wanted to do the S6 is it can kind of be disguised as a Ford Taurus. So I
was wondering that because it looked like it had a Ford badge on the front of it before, but I think it said Audi in like a brush script in the Ford style.
Why would you want to disguise it as a Ford Taurus?
Because that's what the police drive. I'm guessing. I'm thinking he wants to make it look like a police car.
Yeah. Plus, if they catch wind of you doing something, which I'm guessing is pretty illegal.
Yeah.
In a car that looks like it's meant to do something pretty illegal.
Yeah.
I'm guessing there's going to be a little bit.
Right, so make it into like a Ford, make it a bit more understated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The radar
make it look like a police car.
Slow it down, get it in the slow lane when you see some blues behind you and just be like, no,
I don't want to be slowing down.
Yeah.
We were pretty late in the whole quarantine thing. We were already into May. The traffic was already really picked up, and really the only advantage we were going to have would be leaving Manhattan at any time we wanted. So the plan was to leave at 6 p.m. and get through Denver before 8 a.m. the next morning.
Here we go to New York. I called in my former co-driver, Dunadell, who ran with me in the C2C and Ultra Beige and helped me win the 2018 run because Berkeley was unavailable and Dunadell was absolutely ready to go, waiting for the call.
My Cannonball story started in about middle school when I read about Alex Roy's record, and then progressed when Ed's record broke in 2013. I remember vividly meeting Doug Tabbitt at a Cars and Coffee in Cleveland. It was July 4th, if I remember correctly. And essentially, we were drawn to each other by both of us having antennas and screens in our cars. My GLI and his Corvette were both very reminiscent of vehicles we had seen and looked up to, Alex's M5 and Ed's CL, all vehicles that we, strive to emulate almost. Doug and I became fast friends and maintained a good friendship over the next couple of years. And it really blossomed when Doug tapped me to be his co-driver in the Monte Carlo, now dubbed Ultra Beige, for the 2017 C2C Express. Of course, that run ended rather haphazardly in Indiana on the side of the road at a transmission shop of all places. And then we progressed to 2018, of course, finishing, also heartbreaking, but still winning in Ultra Beige. And then moving on to 2019, unfortunately, when Doug and Arnie were looking for a third co-pilot, I was unable to make it. I was starting a job that week, And I decided to, you know, pass the torch, and I gave the opportunity, which of course the 2019 C2C became a trial run for the 27-25 run later that year in the E63. So as soon as I heard that Doug, Arnie, and Berkeley had set the record, I was ecstatic. But also part of me had a little bit of a heartstring pull, and I felt that, you know, the next opportunity I got to, you know, if anything ever happened, I would be lining up at Doug's door and Arnie's door to be the third man. And lo and behold, as soon as 2638 came out, I remember calling Doug and said, when are we going? When are we going? And he sort of said, well, I've got to talk to my wife and whatnot. A few days later, I got the call, and we were headed to New York.
It was eerie in New York City because there's no cars, but there was people and bikes everywhere. And the new risk was driving through an intersection. Even if you had a green light, you might have bicyclists just running the red lights. It was like there's no traffic laws anymore.
They don't do that, do they?
Cars didn't have the right of way. So that presented a new challenge. But because of the lack of traffic, we were able to make it out of Manhattan in 4.5 minutes. And got stuck at one red light, and that annoyed us, which is crazy because usually Manhattan is just, you're stopped all the way out. So we quickly got up to speed and we're on the way.
Honestly, it almost felt too easy. Like it didn't even feel like this was even going to count, because up to then we had, you know, no problems at all.
We had an incredible team of scouts lined up that had our backs, that wanted to see us get the record, and that helped us out in Pennsylvania because we came up on 2 PA state troopers in short succession. And thankfully we had just passed one of our scouts. So we called him and said, hey, we need you to come take one for the team, because we had no idea how long we might be stuck behind him. And so he came flying up and got ready to pass one of them, and the trooper got off at the exit. So we took off again. 5 minutes later, get stuck behind another one. Call him up. Hey, it's your time. So he comes flying up and gets ready to pass him again, and he turns around in the median. So thankfully, we didn't have to pay his ticket for him, but we were able to continue on and not get stuck behind the troopers for a while, because that can certainly take a lot of time off.
I'm loving this.
They're very cagey, aren't they?
In
Wow.
America, if you knew a cop, you used to have a thing called the Police Benevolent Association or something. I don't know if people let me know if they still got it. And if you knew a cop, they used to give you a card, like you call a PBA card. It was like, so what happened meant you donated to the, I used to give some money towards the PBA fund.
Is it the fund for like fallen cops?
Yeah, things like that. I can't remember what it was for now.
Like
I can't remember. I just remember the card. And some of them used to get a metal one, depending on how much money you give and all that kind of stuff. So I was all over that sort of thing. I'm like, I'll have some of this sort of thing. Anyway, I got a card and got pulled over by a state trooper and gave him the card. He fucking just threw it away. Oh. Crook of shite.
It's probably the accident.
Yeah, you give us loads of this money and we'll give you on these cards and you'll be absolutely fine.
On a couple of football teams I used to play on, some of them were cops.
Yeah.
And if we had any issues with tickets or anything, I used to go and talk to them and they'd take it and then it'd go away.
Right, okay.
So it's all about who you know, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
Of course it is, yeah.
These very clever, these guys. Aren't
Yeah,
they? Get the mates to come out and help them out.
This is brilliant, isn't it?
Wow.
It's probably one of the best like little docu-series I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I'm so engrossed in it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great.
I love people kind of figuring it out and figuring their own way of doing things.
Yeah.
And as soon as he said, we've got a scout who just blasts past the cop, get his attention, and then we can go.
Yeah.
Because we've all done it. You get a cop on the motorway, everyone's flying, and then suddenly everyone just slows right down and everyone's sat there like,
As soon as they go off,
maybe,
away you go.
maybe if you do 72, then you can
just edge in front, I think. Yeah. And then when you're round the bend when they can't see you, then you're away, aren't you?
So across the Midwest, we were hauling. That was where we had a couple of 125 mile an hour averages across multiple states, and we were able to get our average to Denver up to 120, which is exactly where.
Wow.
Average across a couple of states.
That is shit.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, so at points that's going to be 160.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Wow.
we needed to be sub 26 hours. So one of the biggest problems with this car is at 160 miles an hour, there's this crazy, like air buffeting, like whining noise that you just can't drive faster than that, or otherwise it'll drive you crazy. So that definitely kept our top speed down. So at no point did we exceed 175 miles an hour.
We got to about Iowa, had a hiccup. I honestly thought we were done. I had wanted to get Michelin Pilot 4S tires, but they were on back order. So we settled on the Continental Extreme DWS, which was a great idea if we had done the run in April, but we were in May now and it was super hot out. And so they were a little bit spongy for performance driving in warm weather. All of a sudden the car was just like super vague and almost uncontrollable. I'd like turn the wheel to change lanes and I'd turn back and there'd be like a delay. And then there was this vibration in the front end and it was all over the board. And I'm like, I mean, it's gotta be tires. It feels like tires that have just gone completely to crap. Or like when you overheat your tires on the track and they're done the heat cycle and they're just like, you're just all over the board. That's what it felt like. And I'm like, there's no way these tires are that bad, but maybe that's it. That's gotta be it. Arnie was asleep in the back and I told Dunedell, I'm like, I think we just gotta like try to let some air out of the tires. Like maybe that'll help and give us a little more grip. But in the back of my mind, I'm going, this is crazy. If they're this shot already, we're never gonna make it through the mountain pass. I mean, we're like 1,200 miles into the run. My gut just sank because I'm like, we're done. This is not gonna work. This is a Band-Aid. And Arnie woke up and he's like, what the heck is going on? Why are you going 60 miles an hour? I'm like, this car is awful. It's got a mind of its own. And I literally just like took the wheel and did this and just kind of like threw the car and it did this. It went back and forth both directions. He's like, man, that's crazy. What is wrong? And I'm like, I have no freaking idea. This car is driving itself. And he's like, wait a minute. Do you have the like lane change assist thing on? I'm like, I don't know. What's that? And he's like, there's an icon on the dash. It like has the 2 lanes. I'm like, yeah, that's on. He's like, you moron. That's what the vibration is. Every time you get to the lanes, it's giving you a vibration. It's trying to put you back into the lane. I'm like, oh my goodness. So it took us probably 10 minutes to try to figure out how to turn this darn thing off. And we finally got it turned off and we're on our way. But that was our big moment of like, we're done. This ain't gonna happen. And it was all just to my idiocy and lack of understanding with technology because the newest car I own is a 2000 Mercedes and has heated seats and rain sensing wipers. Ooh.
So to me in cannonballing, the most important thing is safety. And just like the 27-25 run, we weren't passing people at excessive speeds. There was no passing on the shoulder. And a lot of people are dumbfounded, you know. They think it's like the movies, like it's a real life Dukes of Hazzard or something, which it's far less dramatic than that. And given the less traffic, it was quite a bit easier.
Arnie is a master of disguise. The E63 was awesome. The S6 was awesomer because it sort of looked like a patrol car. However, I'm not sure which was a better disguise because the E63 became known as the silver passenger car because that's what was described over the scanner when we got called in Iowa. Perfect. Could be anybody. However, the S6, while it probably kept us from getting called in multiple times because people mistook it for a police car, it bit us when we got called in Colorado because the person was incredibly descriptive and even called out the unit number and he knew it was an Audi dressed up to look like a patrol car, and that's what came over the scanner. So we're like, well, there's no mistaking that they are looking for us. So Arnie's driving. I'm frantically looking for a way around because we heard the cop report back and he goes, yeah, I'm at M4 such and such. I'll be waiting for him. So I'm going, all right, we got to get off on surface streets. There's like 13 miles to the border of Utah. So let's just take surface streets to get around this and get there. So I'm looking.
Is it true that if you cross the border, they lose their jurisdiction, the state troopers, and then they'll just back off and let you go?
Yeah.
Or is it a myth?
No, I think it used to be true, I think. I don't know what it's like now. But they used to call ahead.
And then there'd be a trooper from the next day waiting for you.
Yeah.
So that whole fleeing the border thing isn't as romantic as it sounds.
Fleeing the border thing was also a more pointing at Mexico or Canada.
Ah,
right.
Yeah. I saw it before in the car. It's like binoculars or something.
Yeah,
sorry,
things.
yeah.
They've got
Actually looking ahead for it.
Yeah. They've got the police scanner, they've got binoculars looking ahead. Proper equipped for it, aren't they?
Yeah, just so much more going into this than I thought. Absolutely massively.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
They think about it, if there was some sort of, if they're doing 160, 170 and traffic stopped ahead, as well. They need to. Those binoculars are probably going to be
yeah.
check the roads clear for the next few miles, because otherwise you better be braking now.
Of course, yeah.
It's high stakes, this though, isn't it?
Time.
Some debris in the road.
I've got sweaty palms. When I'm watching them drive, I'm like, it's one a bit closer.
Looking at the map, I'm trying to figure out where the cop said he was going to be, and I finally realized that, you know, when they called us in, they reported us at mile marker 18. We were moving so quickly that by the time it came over the scanner transmission, we were at mile marker 13, and we had already passed the cop in the median that had said he was waiting for us. So I figured that out, and I'm like, Arnie, friggin' hammer down, let's make it to the border. There's nothing between here and there. So we did. We got out clean. We're good to go.
The traffic, the situation we ran into in California was horrendous. And despite having spotters ahead of us and people trying to, you know, give us a hand, you know, there was no moment, as Ed always says, there was a moment where you could have set the cruise control and beat the record in California. But we never had that moment. We never had that moment where, you know, we had these moving targets. We never had the chance to just put our foot down and know that we were going to be the fastest time. We knew we were up there. We didn't know that we were going to be the fastest time.
The disguise proved to be effective, though, because one of our scouts that led us through Nevada, right as we get to the California border, we pass him, and he's on the phone with us the whole time, and he's like, guys, watch out. I just got my doors blown off by a cop car heading to California. And we're like, no, that's we just passed you. He's like, no, there's a cop car just flying south. He's going towards California. You guys better watch out. And this is a car guy, right? He should know better. And we're like, no, that was us. We just passed you. We're that car. He's like, oh, okay.
To me, the run was momentous. Being part of a team that was able to achieve such a feat in such dire circumstances was incredible.
Part of the reason I wanted to do a COVID run was everybody who cannonballs wants to know what it would be like to do the ultimate run. The perfect situation, the perfect car, and the perfect team. I found the perfect co-driver in Arnie, and the car was just about as good as it gets, and there was no traffic. And that was just so much fun, because on the 27-25 run, we're battling with all of the normal circumstances, the traffic, you know, the left lane drivers, and there was just nobody on the roads. And it was a lot of fun to be able to cruise at 140, 160 miles an hour and not be bothering anybody.
So on Sunday,
Well, it was 27 hours, 25 minutes maybe.
Ooh, could be, couldn't it? Yeah, he mentioned something about 20-some hours before, didn't he?
26, he said we're going to be sub 26.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm thinking the 20, because it's not a real race as such.
No.
So they wouldn't number the races.
Yeah.
Right,
So I'm
it's
thinking
actually
27-25 is the time.
So the 27-25 run is the
27
time
hours,
done in
27 hours,
like the
25
record.
minutes. Yeah.
You're
That's
right.
what I'm thinking.
I think you're
From
right.
New York to LA.
Yeah.
It's a long distance, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is a long way, isn't it? Wow.
afternoon, we pulled into the Portofino. We had traveled 2,816 miles in 25 hours and 39 minutes with an overall average speed of 110 miles an hour across the whole country. The feeling pulling in, for once we actually had people there. We weren't pulling up in the middle of the night. There were some people there to greet us and to film us coming in. But, I gotta say that it just didn't have the same feeling as 27-25. When we had done 27-25, it was more about doing something that, that hadn't been done and was possibly couldn't be done. And 25-39, while it cements us as the fastest ever crossed the country, it just didn't feel the same. This run had quite a different feeling than 27-25. For that run, there was really no blueprint, and the record had stood for so long that it had a sense of accomplishment that was far greater than this. For 25-39, everybody knew that this was the time to do it. You had so much less to overcome, so much less traffic, so much fewer cops. So while it's a great achievement, it just doesn't have the same impact to me as 27-25 did.
So almost like it was too easy, wasn't it?
Yeah, kind of. I see what he's saying there. I kind of get what he's saying.
It's probably more of a challenge, isn't it? When there's traffic, you've got to avoid the traffic and a bit more skill to avoid maybe bottlenecks and things.
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you're saying there, but that's some time in that, isn't it?
No,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Must have been pretty hairy at moments. So it starts vibrating at 160.
He averaged 110 all the way. Was the average.
That's incredible, that isn't it? I mean, to not get pulled up and things like that as well. But obviously, have the spotters, don't need people helping them out. But to go that distance without being pulled up for it,
They will have stopped for toilet breaks, food, fuel, things like that as well. So that average speed becomes even more impressive.
It'd be a real quick.
Oh, I know that. I know that.
Like the shots at the end there, they keep the number plate sort of covered up and blurred out still, don't they? Just in case.
He's probably still got that car. He's probably still using it regular, isn't he?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Well, that was what a great story, though, right?
Yeah, great story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
Like I say, so much more go into it than I thought.
Yeah.
Absolutely massive more amount.
Well, you see, he got the lens out as well. I don't know if it was a camera on it, but it's
it's
like a massive lens
serious
as well.
piece of
It's
kit
like,
as well,
yeah,
that wasn't it?
proper.
Did you see the heat signature one of the screens? It was like a night vision mode.
Oh yeah,
and it was heat signatures that were on it, so you could see the cars as kind of white lights.
Yeah,
and the road was green.
Like heat seeking as well, isn't it? Oh, incredible!
Shit that gets into it, right?
Just a bit, yeah.
Just to get that record.
Yeah.
It's sweaty palms moments there, though. You know, maybe it works different in the States, but if you're caught doing over 100 miles an hour in this country, you lose your license.
Yeah,
because it's 3 points per 10 miles an hour over the limit you are.
Yeah.
And any driving offence that gets you more than 9 points is an instant ban, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's the technicality of it.
Something like that.
So 70 mile an hour limit, you're doing 100, you're done.
I was in my wife's car going down Birmingham a couple of weeks ago, and looked at the speed. I was doing 103, and I thought, "Fucking hell, what am I doing here on the M6?" And I was like, straight back into the middle lane. I was panicking.
Yeah,
and I thought, "Jeez, if I get caught with that."
My bro may or may not have allegedly, when he did or didn't have a Mazda MX-5, I think he's allegedly maybe not doing about 130.
Which he probably wasn't.
No, he definitely wasn't. It's disgraceful. And got pulled.
Speed was wrong.
Got pulled by the cops.
Really?
Yeah, going maybe or maybe not crossing the border into Scotland allegedly.
Yeah.
Got put down as 99 on the speeding ticket.
Yeah.
Did it?
Fair enough.
The cop threw him a bone.
A PBA card.
That's what he had.
Just got his knob out.
Yeah. Blow into this.
Or blow this.
Yeah, so I mean that's the difference. I think cops will do that if you're reasonable with them because they know they're going to ruin your life.
Yeah.
And I know you've taken that action to deserve the consequence, but the difference between 99 miles an hour or 100 miles an hour is you're probably going to lose your job.
Could be life
your
changer.
vehicle. Yeah, it can ruin your whole life, can't it?
Of course,
I mean, you should be driving at them speeds anyway. I just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, you can creep up the big comfortable car with a
nice
engine.
Yeah, absolutely. And the road was empty.
Easy to do, isn't it?
I was just like, Jesus.
I'm careful. I don't push it past about 85 consistently. Really, I get up there, sometimes, and there's other times where you're clear and you go a little bit more. But
if you've got a freeway, clear motorway or something, then it's not so bad, is it? But
best to be safe.
Great video.
Yeah, it was.
Really
I enjoyed that. Yeah,
excellent.
Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it too. Don't forget like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.